we're looking for in terms of cues. But let's kickstart the show now by talking about the market and where things could really be headed. Rohit Srivastava of IndiaCharts.com joins us now. Rohit, thanks for joining us today. It's been a bit that we spoke, so it's good to have you on today, especially on a day when we have seen quite a sharp cut come through. We're still 100 points down on the Nifty in spite of the fact that we've come off the lows a little bit. And for the past few days, it has really been the Nifty Bank, which has been perhaps the weakest link of the market. How do you see it from here? And do you think that the Nifty will find support at these levels, or do you think that there's more to go in terms of a downside?
Yeah, lot of things to answer there. And the thing that some people really want me to say is that, yes, this bounce is over and we're headed towards 18,900. Now, while that is a fair possible outcome, I'm still not able to give it a high weight, because we've already seen a pretty steep correction in some of the markets globally. And specifically Bank Nifty, since you mentioned that, is back to the lows which were seen in August, which is around 43,600. The 40-week average is very close to 43,350 or something like that. So you are in that support zone, where in fact Bank Nifty, if it bottoms here, would be a double bottom. 43,600 back then and 43,500 something today is sort of a double bottom case for Bank Nifty. Of course, we have to see the actual follow-up buying to come in from here, but that's the setup. So at this level, where Bank Nifty has made a lower low than it did, than the Nifty did when it was at 19,330, say, we are seeing an intermarket divergence. We are seeing excessive weakness in banking, but it's already at that bottom end of the range. Can we really think that it's going to keep weakening from here? So very hard to create a bearish case for Bank Nifty. And the risk reward will actually appear to the upside, favorable to the upside, barring that, yes, we need the momentum and setup to come in place. And so that's what we'll watch out for next few days. If the momentum and setup develops for a move to the upside, I actually want to play the upside on Bank Nifty from here. Now, in that sense, like I said, there's an intermarket divergence. Nifty is not broken the 19,330 low. And will it, because of the recent bounce really failing to cross 19,880, which was 61% of the rise. Now, similarly, if we take 61% of the fall was 19,880. If we take 61% of this recent rise, then that is at today close to today's low of 19,525 or 27. So now that becomes the protective level, I think, immediately right now, if I have to think of something, that if we manage to hold this 61% level, then maybe there's a case that we rebound from here and start heading higher again. So that's the case I would want to try and watch out for. Given that Bank Nifty is already down, the US indices are already oversold. That's
okay.
That's what I think.
So Rohit, I guess the gist is that you are more inclined to believe that we could be in a zone where both on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, where the risk reward may start favoring a long trade now. That would be the way to sort of look at it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just allow us a second, Rohit, because we're getting some updates on Nestle, the numbers, that volume growth is slightly lower than expectations. So pull up the intraday chart on Nestle. The stock has been quite wobbly all over the place. What is supportive is their decision to go ahead with a stock split, because optically the stock starts looking like it's more within reach. That the ticker price will be smaller once the split is in effect. But 4% volume growth versus expectations of 5 to 7%. That's on Nestle. Rohit, just to get back to it now, since you are playing or setting up for perhaps playing an upside move in the market, in terms of stocks and sectors and themes, what looks all set for a bit of a bounce on the upside?
So we look for where the outperformance is in the short term in terms of sectors, and that has been in places like realty, PSUs all over again. The auto index, which is still holding positive today, has been up for 6-7 days consecutively. So these are possibly areas that you'd want to really look at, and the mid caps, of course, the mid and small caps have not given up. These are areas of strength, and I think we'll continue to focus on looking at that for the immediate momentum. Now, I could have said banking because the risk reward is favorable, but we aren't seeing the momentum pick up yet. So that's something to watch out for. It's the dark horse right now. In fact, seasonally, This is a period where historically over the last 10 years, financials have actually done pretty well, in the second, third weeks of October. But we aren't seeing that right now yet. And so it's easier to focus on where the strength is and continue to chase strength.
Particularly real estate, Rohit, what do you like? Which are the stocks showing strength?
No, I don't think I can specifically name anything, but I think the index itself has not really fallen much. It may be down 0.7% today, but if you look at the overall gains it has made over 2-3 weeks, it is holding out pretty well.
Okay, got that. By the way, the Nestle stock is really coming off the highs right now. It's around 0.3% in the red. So I think after that volume figure did come in at around 4%. The estimate was 5 to 7% in terms of a volume growth. That has come off. This is in spite of the fact that margins have also been, much better than expected. The profit is looking good. But remember, there is an exceptional item in the profit of around 105 crores. But the stock on that volume news is definitely coming off the highs. Absolutely at the flat line for Nestle right now. Rohit, when we've spoken earlier, you've always sounded quite positive on the metals, on some of the PSU stocks. How do you look at those right now? I mean, do you think that those are still good to get in, or would you stay away for a bit?
Yeah, PSUs have continued to rise. I mentioned them. They are among the outperforming sectors still. In fact, the most recent correction has been more like a consolidation. And then they've taken off. So it looks like the momentum is still there in PSU. So no doubt about that. Metals are the odd bet because you are in an environment where the dollar is rising, commodity prices are at their lows if you look at copper. But despite those negative cues, we have seen the Nifty Metal Index actually do pretty well over the last quarter. May not be the best performing sector, but it has done well. The stocks have moved up. So I sense that, we are at the fag end of this whole dollar-bound route. And as that comes to a close, the metal prices are due to pick up at some point of time. And therefore, it would remain one of the sectors that I would be very, very, bullish on medium to longer term. And right now also, I think today's sell-off it's not broken the previous low. It's some kind of retracement. So it puts us at a higher low than the one we made in the early part of October. And if that remains the case over the next few days, then I would think that the next move to a new high in the metal sector also is coming.
Just going back to Nestle to check the stock price reaction. Let's get the intraday chart again up on Nestle and then also put up a one-year chart. The thing is, the market went into earnings thinking that there's going to be some sort of a rural recovery inside. That's been the narrative over the last several weeks now. And perhaps that's why the sharp reaction, because 4% doesn't really inspire a great recovery confidence. So if you look at from the lows of April when the Nestle rally started, the stock is up almost 30% from that point, the lowest level that we saw in about April of 23. And then we have these earnings coming through. Now, this is just one company, Rohit. Obviously, we'll hear from Lever. We'll hear from all the others as the season progresses. But what thoughts on FMCG overall?
So it's been a sector that I've sort of avoided simply on the basis of the idea that during the last boom phase, which we saw 2002 to 2008, when every other sector was really doing well, FMCG actually underperformed, except for maybe some of the domestic FMCG names like maybe Marico or Dabur. They did well during that phase, but most of the MNCs actually did very, very poorly for that entire 8 to 10 year period. They only performed in the subsequent phase. So we've actually seen significant outperformance by FMCG between 2010 and 2020. I think that they'll go through a similar underperformance phase where they may not do as well as other sectors that are doing well. And so that is why they are sort of off my list right now, not really tracking them very closely.
Okay, and also, guys, Nestle, remember, it's not a tail sabun company necessarily. It's a bit more of urban consumption, which otherwise is really booming. So I guess market not too happy with just a 4% volume growth.
And plus, the stock is trading at 65 times forward multiple. FY25 PE for Nestle is close to about 65 times. Rohit, thank you very much for joining in. Get